Hello there. I tied a fly yesterday called the Summo Shrimp. Unfortunately I had a black jersey on and the quality wasn't particularly good, so I'm going to redo the video. The hook in the vise is an Grafham Water grub hook and it's a size 8, and the thread we're going to use today even is the UTC thread, and it's the 70. First thing I'm going to do is just attach the thread to the shank of the hook. I'll take away the pig's tail, and I'm going to put in some Coq de Leon fibres into the front here. I used to use partridge for this, but I just find that the Coq de Leon gives a bit more movement and is a better material to work with for this fly. So as you can see, I've taken 4 or 5 strands of Coq de Leon, and I'm just going to catch that in at the front of the fly. Now once I've got it in position, I'm going to lift the fibres and just put 2 turns just to kick these fibres up. You can see now they're kicked up nicely. I'll just remove the bulk of that, and I'm going to bring my thread down to the bottom here, near the bottom. Again, I'm going to take a few more fibres of my Coq de Leon, try and get them straight at the edge, and I'll pop these on like so. Okay, again I'm just going to come around the back so I can get a couple of turns underneath the fibres like that. I'll just take that up a bit. I'm going to remove the waste. The next thing then, I'm going to add a small copper rib. I'm just going to use this, it's very light copper rib. Bear with me. And I'll attach that in like so. Oops, I've just flattened my tail there, I don't want to do that. So I've come back. I'm also going to add some ice blue pearl tinsel, which is going to be my shell back. It's quite delicate stuff, this. Not particularly easy to work with, but I think the effect it gives makes it worth the effort. Next I'm going to come all the way back up to the top here and stop just about 2mm shy of the eye. Next thing I'm going to do is create my eyes. I'm using some sea fishing nylon here. It's super thick and it's a sort of a grey colour. I've got some degorgers here which I use for this, and once I've clamped it down, I'm just going to remove what I don't need, which is about that. Now, as you can see, I've got even spacing on either side, and I'm just going to grab a lighter and melt the ends. Now David McPhail does something very similar with a pair of pointed tweezers, and the advantage of using the tweezers over this method is that you can vary the size of the gap that you're going to get with your eyes, whereas I'm set to pretty much this gap, which is quite wide, but I'm not concerned because that's exactly how I want them. This is the fiddliest bit of the whole operation, attaching the eyes. I've tried this lots of different ways, and it's important to melt them as I've shown you here, because what I used to do, well, I did once, was I'd tie just a strip of nylon on, get it in place because it was easier to work with, and then I would try and melt them actually on the fly. But the problem with that is you end up melting your very expensive Coq de Leon hackles away, and the shrimp's got no feelers at the front, which is no good. So once you've got that in place, come all the way down to the bottom again, and select a dubbing material. Now I use these all natural fur dubbins, and for this one I find the fox squirrel is the best. Now the reason the fox squirrel is so good is it's a very coarse dubbing, and what I'm after is creating lots of straggly strands, the legs at the bottom of the shrimp, and this stuff's ideal for that. The way this fly came about was fishing Grafham last year. The fish were hard on shrimp, and they have been for a couple of seasons now, but I hadn't really sort of taken the time to have a real close look at them. These shrimps are huge things, hence the size 8 hook, and I can see why the fish are making hay while the sun shines, so to speak. It doesn't have conditioned them well. Catching some great fish there last year. So I've dubbed my dubbing on, and I've got just enough. It's taking me up to my eyes. You can see now I've got quite a straggly pattern going on. What I'm going to do is just force everything down with my thumb and forefinger, and then I'm going to bring my overwing shell back over the top. Just get a couple of turns in there to hold it into place, then you can adjust it with your hand, give it a little pull just to tighten it up, and then lock it into place with several turns. I can now get my scissors in there and just remove the excess. Still wants to move round. Then with my copper wire rib, I'm going to come round at the back of that, try and keep my spacing nice and tidy. Just remove anything off the back. Like so. I'm going to bring that all the way up, and again I can lock that down. Once I've got 2 or 3 turns, holding my thread tight, I can just twist the wire away, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tidy up my head here. I've got quite a lot going on. I can see the taggy end of my shell back, which I want hidden really, but I want to build up my head a good bit. Now what I can do now is just finish that off with a half hitch. starting to look pretty good. Looks very shrimp-like. I'm going to use some diamond hard now to give the appearance of that back, the prominent back that all shrimp have got. Just make sure I've got nothing in the way of this. And I'm going to start with a blob on the head. Then, before it goes everywhere, bring in my dubbing needle and just bring that down the back of the fly. Once that's done, you can get your UV torch bring it into place, then just touch it, make sure it's okay. My front tentacles are looking good. What I'm going to do next is just using my dubbing needle pull out a few fibres. This is easier done if I was to rotate the fly in the vise, but it would probably go out of focus for the video, so I'm going to do it the hard way. And then I can just pull that through. And there we go, the Summo Shrimp in all its glory. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope the quality is a bit better. Thanks for watching.